With us now is Ralph Silva, strategist at the Silva Research Network. Ralph, thanks for coming in. We have those figures from Barclays, the first one in a long line this week. We also yesterday heard from Credit Suisse. I know we talk every couple of months, and last time you were saying be careful on the banks.
That's right.
Do you have any relief after what you've heard from Barclays?
Well, from a financial perspective, I think Barclays is doing relatively well, and I think we're going to hear similar results from all the big European organizations, which is great news because the investment banking business, although it hasn't recovered completely, is still there. The problem is this bonuses, this pesky bonuses are still coming up, and the problem with that is that we're going into a period where unions are getting all involved, where we're seeing more civil unrest, not just in Europe but in other places, and all the focus seems to be coming towards the bankers, and the more bonuses they pay themselves, the greater that discomfort is.
So do you think Barclays has overpaid their bankers because of the bonus will attract the focus?
Well, what the government did by increasing the taxes in the UK actually made the bank increase the bonuses to their people because they have to remain competitive. If they're going to pay more in tax, they got to be given more money. There are, in fact, fewer people getting bonuses, which I guess is good news from a banking perspective because there's less, but there's fewer people managing more money, so there's higher risk in that area. So overall, the higher the number, the more civil unrest we're going to see, the more the governments are going to put their backs up against the wall and say, hold on, we're not going to do this.
And do you think this will happen because of what we're seeing? Are we going to see more regulation or more taxes being slapped on bonuses?
Well, especially in the UK, we will see something like that, and it'll be focused towards the Bob Diamonds of the world, not the people who get bonuses because of the amount of money they make. So it's kind of a commission in that case. But these higher-ups that are basically get money for waking up in the morning, those are the ones that the governments are going to have problems with. And we've already heard Vince Cable and others say we're going to try to control that. If they don't manage how they get themselves paid, it's going to cause a problem.
Ralph, I also wanted to touch a little bit about what we heard this week from Credit Suisse. They're financing themselves through investors and then issuing cocoa bonds. Is this a new way of restructuring? Are we going to see that model being applied to more European banks?
We certainly are. And in fact, we've heard that the FSA wants Barclays to pay their bonuses in cocos that are related, in fact, and this is kind of unique, to the capital levels within the bank. So if it's below 7%, then they don't get anything, which is a unique way of doing it. I think that's a very positive thing, only the bankers aren't going to get their money for at least 2 or 3 years, and that might encourage them to look elsewhere, so we have to be very careful.
Ralph, I also want to touch on the bourses because I know you cover them. We're waiting this vote, Deutsche Börse, NYSE, Euronext.
Yeah.
Is it going to go through? And if it does go through, is it a good deal?
I think it will go through, and I think it is a great deal, especially for the Deutsche Börse, which will get a majority percentage out of this. The problem is that the exchanges are consolidating to such an extent that we'll have 3 major exchanges around the world, and that means that all the liquidity sits in 3 centers, and there's some risks to that because which governments actually control those 3 exchanges? And that's a question that still has to be answered.
Ralph, thank you so much. Great question. We'll have to get that answer from you next time. Ralph Silva there.